Hey guys, Happy New Year! It is January 1st today, and I thought I should do my WIP update for December of last year and a little bit of a year in review, and then probably some sappiness at the end. So I worked on two things last month, two WIPs and then some ornaments I have to show you. I know you're thinking, that's pathetic. Yes, it is. Shh. So I'll show you the ornaments first. They took up most of my time. So this is the warm and woolly mitten with the little reindeer heads and the little heart charm. And this top bit that I totally messed up. I don't know if I said before that you have to stitch it on the back of the paper and then you like fold it down, and I totally counted it wrong. Yes, I did. I counted it like 4 times and it was still wrong. So I just ended up cutting that part out and just whip stitching it on the top. I don't follow instructions well, apparently. The other mitten I did is this Noel heart. And this one has a lot of beads on it, and it has this little bit in the middle with like a little ornamental heart that makes the O. I like that one too. I really like the mittens. And then the last one I did is Kitty's Gift. And this was originally a gray kitty, but I made him orange to look like my kitty. I couldn't find any beads though that would coordinate with the oranges that I picked, so if you'll notice, he's just all entirely stitched. There's supposed to be beads around him, but I just couldn't make that work. So just the present and the hat have beads, but there's also a little like holly berry at the top. It's super cute. And another one of these little bows on the present. So those are my ornaments for this year. The only 2 WIPs I worked on were my, they're both new starts actually. One is the Book Spines project from Hardcore Stitchcore on Etsy that is in my Q-Snap, and the other one is Angel of Love. So I'll show you the Book Spines first. This is what I have. So this is roughly like the middle of the piece. And then I've put in all the books all the way to like the right-hand side. So now I just have to move the frame over here and then finish the books on this side. So I think I mentioned this last month, but I'm just stitching like the filling patterns and the outlines, and I'm leaving the actual main pattern for metallic. I'm gonna put some metallic in there instead. I wanted to use just all one color of metallic across all the books, but there are a lot of stitches to fill in. These are all really light colors, so I hope you can see, but like, there's a lot of metallic to put in this, so that might not work anymore. I don't know. I'm gonna stitch the whole thing first and then we'll figure it out. I'm still really liking my Q-Snap. Sometimes I do miss holding it in hand, like when I was working on this green book on the end, kind of in the middle, and I couldn't figure out if I should hold this from like the top or the bottom or over here, and I just like, I'm very set in my ways, and I like to have a hand on the back, and sometimes this made that difficult. So there were like 20% of the time I missed stitching in hand, but most of the time I didn't. So this has been a very fun experiment, this Q-Snap. The other thing I started, I think I just went through my last year's videos to do a little year in review, and I realized that I had not even like mentioned really or shown Angel of Love at all, except in my vlog. So, Angel of Love, if you're not familiar, looks like this. It's by Lavender and Lace, and has a lot of beads in it. The choice I made, and I am going to show you the pattern, but I'm going to show it really far away. I don't know if I should even do that, but I'll show you a little bit. Okay, so this is like a little bit of the skirt. I just highlighted every bead. So it's mostly, it's like half beads, in the skirt at least. So I highlighted all the beads on the pattern, and what I'm doing is I'm going through the skirt and trying to do like a 10 by 10 square each of the stitching, and then when I'm done that, I just put an X through the square in pencil, so that in theory, when I'm done stitching the skirt with the floss, I'll just erase all of the X's and just put in the highlighted parts. I don't know, that's my plan. I did not want to bead this as I went because I find beading frustrating and time consuming. I still haven't beaded August Peridot Fairy. And yeah, so I'm just trying to make this as like enjoyable as I possibly can. It's so beautiful and I really want to stitch it and I don't want it to be a pain in the butt. So, and that way I'll just pick like a floss that matches my fabric and put all the beads in at once with that same floss, just like a really long strand of it. That's just like the easiest way for me to do it. So for fabric, I actually have the little tag in here because I'm semi-prepared. This is the DMC Charles Craft Monaco, and it's 28 count tea-dyed. I love this fabric. I talk about it a little bit in my vlog for December. It's very tightly woven. It's like the opposite of a linen. The holes are very close together. You don't get any of the like gapiness of linen, which I do think looks nice aesthetically, like as a fabric, but I just don't enjoy stitching on it, I don't think. So this even weave is like the pinnacle of even weave. It is so evenly woven that it's like, it's incredible. So I have a lot of this. I think I bought some from the Joann's website last year or maybe the year before that. Like 8 tubes of the tea-dyed and like 4 tubes of the white. So whenever I don't know what to stitch something on or I don't have a fabric ready for it, I just pick one of these because it's neutral and that's like my thing. So this is a 20 by 24 inch piece and I just used the whole piece. I don't think I trimmed it at all. And I fray checked the edges. And which way is up? This way. So here is Angel of Love. I don't have very much so far, but it's very pretty and has very interesting color contrast in it. So yeah, I don't think you can see this, but see how it just looks like fabric? Like you can't even see the holes in it. I just think it's the best. So yeah, this is my one huge piece of fabric that I just pulled out of that tube and didn't trim. So what I did was I started like in the center of the skirt, which is like here-ish, and then I just moved all the way to the edge. So the middle of the pattern is kind of the middle of her body, like where she's the tiniest, like her waist. So from here, the skirt is gonna kind of like bell out. I really like this. I'm gonna work on this today, I think, because I ran out of gold metallic, so I couldn't stitch on it for a while, but it came in yesterday, so I am really looking forward to stitching on that. Those are the only things I worked on in December. Book spines, Angel of Love, and those 3 ornaments. Obviously December is always crazy for everybody. I got a second job in December, so I've been working a lot of hours, and I just find that I haven't had a ton of time to just like enjoy by myself. I think that might change. I can't keep working the amount of hours that I've been working at both jobs. Like I'll burn out. But this beginning of the year is like a slower time. So I think I'll probably be able to balance a little bit more. Ugh. My bangs are still growing out, guys. It's gonna be like a continuing issue. Okay, so earlier today, I went through all of my WIP updates from last year, and I didn't listen to all of them like entirely because that is a lot of me to watch like at once, and I get kind of self-conscious about it, like, oh my god, what was I even talking about a year ago? So, but I did. I went through everything, and I wrote down all of the WIPs that I worked on in the year and all of the ones that I finished, and also some other stuff that happened. So in 2015, I worked on 15 projects and I finished 9 of them. So, and I think I have finished videos for all of them. No, because one was a gift. I'll start with that one. The one that like doesn't really count, but I did stitch it, is I stitched a wedding present for a friend in July, just in a hoop, and so I gave that to her. I stitched it for just a few days, and I didn't make a video on it or anything. You can see it in my WIP update, I think, for July. But, so I don't know, that one might not count, but I counted it anyways. All of the other ones I have finished videos for, and I will link those down below. So the other 8 that I finished were Red by Mirabilia, the Twisted Band Sampler by Northern Expressions Needleworks, the Chatelaine Mini Mandalas, which are 3 little mandalas, but I just grouped them into one finish because it's just one pattern. It's like one unit. Save the Stitches by Liz Almond, the 4 Dinky Dyes seasonal samplers, and that's it, and that hoop. Okay, so those were the 8 projects that I finished that you can see finished videos on. Like I said, I will link those down below, which means that as of right now, I have 6 works in progress. That is a lot. That is a lot for me. I think I've had like 4 pretty consistently. So right now I have 6. The ones that I started this last year that I didn't finish are August Peridot Fairy by Mirabilia, which I am done the stitching on. I just have to do the beading on. Peacock Pinwheels by Tempting Tangles. Quaker Game Board by Papillon Creations. Sparkling Swan, my Big Chatelaine. And the 2 I just showed you, the Book Spines from Hardcore Stitchcore and Angel of Love. So 6 WIPs right now. That's crazy for me. But you can kind of tell what kind of stitcher I am. Like I started some things and I finished most of them, and then everything that's left I'll finish this year. And like I don't tend to keep a lot of WIPs for a really long time. But speaking of that, here's some other stuff that happened in 2015. Dorian. I stopped stitching on Dorian, and I think I talked about it really early in 2015 that I had like packed her away, maybe like February or March. And she found a new home last year. Yay! It makes me feel so happy. It is such a weight off my shoulders because I know that I would never have finished her. And it was like my one thing that was like hanging on. So Dorian has found a new home. I dabbled in a little bit of embroidery with like mixed success. It is something I'd like to try again, but probably not in like the super near future. I started vlogging, which has been met with a lot of positive feedback, and I thank you for that. And also I tried my first Q-snap, which was kind of my first frame experience. I had used a hoop before, but nothing like that. So I think I had a pretty good year. I also think I had a pretty good mix of stuff. I tend to pick bigger projects. I think you can probably tell that. The things that stitched the quickest were, I think, those Dinky Dyes seasonal samplers. So if you're thinking about trying those, I highly suggest you do because they stitch up fairly fast and they are really fun. All right, so here's the like sappiness that I semi-promised. So this channel doubled in the last year as far as like number of subscribers and number of views and number of videos watched. Everything has doubled, and I don't really know how to express how I feel about that, but I have to say thank you. Thank you to everybody who watched and left lovely comments and decided to subscribe. Thank you to everyone who has been very supportive and encouraging to me and has shared their personal experiences with me and contacted me personally. Thank you to everyone for teaching me new things and helping me when I asked for help. And this channel has become something that means a lot to me. I think it's just made me a stronger person, like a better person. I feel more confident in my own opinions and my own abilities because of it. And I think I'm more confident in general, and I'm also much less anxious, especially socially. So I think there has to be a connection there somewhere. So thank you. Stitching is something that's become really important, kind of the most important thing in my life almost, in terms of like my mental health and my just general sanity. So by extension, you guys have kind of become the most important thing in my life. So I just so appreciate all of you and everything. And let's stop there. All right, so that was December's WIP update and a little bit of talking about 2015 in general. Things I would like to do in 2016. I would like to finish that big chatelaine. That's a high order, a tall order, but I think I can probably do that. And I think that's really all I want to set as far as like a big old goal. I mentioned before that I wanted to do a little bit more like embellishment kind of work on fabric that I have. I would still like to do that. I don't really know where to fit that into my time right now. Like I said, I'm just hoping everything's gonna settle down a little bit and I'll be able to stitch a little bit more. So, thank you again for all your support in 2015. I feel like there's something I'm forgetting to say and it's gonna bother me right when I stop recording this. But I will link all of those finished videos down below. There will be 8 of them. The only one that will be missing is I didn't do a finished video on that little hoop I did for my friend's wedding. But there are 8 like fairly sizable projects that I finished last year. I'll link all that down below. I'll link my Instagram down below. I have not been very good at updating that, but I definitely update that more than I film videos. And yeah, I have really enjoyed talking to you guys. I feel like I know some of you like really well, which is weird because we don't really know each other, but kind of awesome. So feel free to contact me. I love comments. I respond to every comment. I do. I really do. So if you want to leave a comment, I will respond to it. I also have an email linked on my like about page, my general YouTube information page if you want to email me. Some of you have already found me on Facebook. Feel free to contact me on Facebook. I don't really know what I want to do with that. I feel like I have a lot of friends now on Facebook that I don't actually know, and I've been thinking about maybe making a separate page for like just my YouTube channel, but that seems kind of silly at this point, so I don't know. But there are some detectives among you that have very easily found me on Facebook, so feel free to do that too if you want to. And I will see you guys in the next video. Okay, thank you again. Love you. Bye.